Welcome to another Jackalmen Games podcast. We were created with laughter in mind, so join us while we giggle and grow together. Let's have this talk after I hit the record button. Let's do it. I mean, the button's pressed, so tell me all about that.
I believe that Agent Zion is really down to earth, and I believe that his analysis of that is pretty spot on, actually. I believe like a 5-1 finish in a Galactic Qualifier it really does feel like you top forward, but you didn't actually win a regional, which
Right.
like you still really feel good, and you still get deck profiles of those. So like because there's really cool decks that normally go 5-1, and then when you go 4-2, it feels like you did very okay, or you kind of won a store championship kind of thing, kind of feel to it. I can perfectly agree with those.
So what happened is I put down any closing statements, and if you went to MomoCon, tell me about your favorite moment. And Agent of Zion said, my favorite part of MomoCon is that I went 5-1 and no one even knew I was there. And I said, winning records don't matter at GQs apparently. And he said he said they do and they don't.
And then I replied, they do to some, they don't to some. Like I said, I stand firmly. I 100%, 110% agree with him. But there was a lot of people that, so yesterday morning as I woke up, I did not submit anything. I did not give any information other than, post my deck list after I went 5-1 day one, only losing to Andreas, which shout out to Ace because he went 6-0. So, and not only did he go 6-0, but he also went undefeated in the not only the standard but the infinite tournament. I was really proud of him. And in Klaus from Your Destiny, he wrote an article on my deck, and he thought it was really cool, and he gave me credit, and I was really happy, and that seemed to put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because it didn't go 6-0, because even whenever I posted my deck, I was like, hey, it went 6-0 in pods, which is really cool. So that means that you could take this deck knowing that you can grind pods with it. That's a really fun aspect because a lot of people only want to go for pods.
The whole point of this podcast, which is because we're recording, hey everybody, I'm with the Wicked Sith of the South, Eric, also known as Maul.
What's up, guys?
And I called him the Tortoise earlier, it's so lame in comparison. Headless.
I can't say what I call him.
Jeff, also known as the Headless Django.
Hello.
Man, I need to come up with something cool for you too.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the tortoise came from. I mean, I'm slow on the uptake with the technology.
No, you're slow and old. That's just
yeah. Tortoises aren't like young, dude. Those are like, you ever seen Kung Fu Panda? He's not a turtle. He's a tortoise. He's a Grandmaster. We're gonna call you Grandmaster Tortoise.
Yo, Grandmaster Headless Django. But the thing is, for the longest time, you were playing one of the fastest decks in the format before Convergence.
He was playing Cancer. Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
No, I never played that. No, I never did. I was playing
top 4 with it.
Hankira. Yeah.
Cancer.
I wanted to get our two players together, Jeff and Eric, because they went to MomoCon with two different mindsets. There's two sides of the coin for Galactic Qualifiers. You can either go and compete, or you can go and just have a good time in pods and pull all these awesome spot glasses. So, going into it, how are you guys feeling with the decks that you brought?
I went in with a trilogy deck. I didn't get a ton of reps in with it. I went in with I tried out some different stuff. I tried to get creative. I made a crazy Elite Jabba, Elite Watto, First Order Stormtrooper, Allies of Necessity deck that just did entourage stuff, and I just didn't find it fun. And in the end, I landed on Phasma Sentinel, and I still didn't. I found that more fun, but I just didn't find the trilogy format that fun right now. I feel like it maybe needs another set to come in to do it. And then when I sat down and I saw that, I don't know how much of the field was playing a Phasma deck, but it felt like half.
Yeah.
It really did. It felt like half of them. So after all the technical difficulties they had and the late start and everything else, I was 1-1 the trilogy. So when they gave us the opportunity to drop, I think a lot of us did. I'm almost
It
positive.
dropped down to like 14 players.
Yeah, it was basically all the 2-0s stayed.
Yeah,
they're like, hey, it's worth it for us. The rest of us were like, no, we'll take off and play some pods. And I really didn't want. Yeah, I didn't exactly. I didn't want to grind through a bunch more mirror matches. I'd much rather get out there and have a good time and play some pods. And plus, that gave me the opportunity to run my standard deck and get some more reps in with it before I went into the standard, which I was feeling much more competitive about.
What, you did pods with your standard deck before the standard tournament? What?
That's what I did.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness.
On the whole trilogies things, if I could say something real quick, I got asked a lot why I chose not to play in trilogies, and there's two reasons. One, and before I give these two reasons, I just want to say, going into this tournament, I felt day one, I haven't felt as confident in my ability as I have since I won Louisiana Regional. So I was like, I knew I was hot. I knew I just had that feeling. And so I just chose not to play in trilogies because I felt like a lot of the most powerful cards in the format right now for standard come from trilogies. And I just did not want to sink my time into building a third deck that is literally just a dumbed down version of what standard is right now. And I didn't want to play the mirror match like a bajillion times.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the only put together deck in trilogy is a Phasma X.
Well, that's not necessarily true. The deck that I would have taken in trilogies is actually the one that 6-0'd was the Sentinel Watto deck that plays all the big meaty stuff.
Just the rainbow support deck.
Yeah, rainbow supports. But on my second note, I also wanted to play in a couple pods, which I played to kind of warm up with Tarkin Snoke before the standard event, and I won my 2 pods, got my big spot, got I got my mall spot glass, which I wanted because I've never been to a GQ, and then I had 8 just like for whatever I get to add on to whatever I get in the standard tournament. So that was super exciting, and I was rolling hot, and I knew it. I was feeling good, and so I felt like that since I wanted to do better in standard than I wanted to do in trilogies, even if I did play, that pod as a warm-up was a lot better option.
Yeah. So for context for our listeners, I live in New Jersey and have already done 2 trips to Florida this past year to do Destiny related things, and I got wife blocked and wallet blocked. You can't go again. And I get it. I totally do. Like we'd be flipping broke if I went again. But I don't think I'd sit down and play standard pods. I think I'd walk around and watch standard pods before the standard event. Because if people are willing to give me information, I wouldn't want to give information out.
Well, so my opinion on that, I'm actually glad you said that, because I had somebody ask me like why would I not watch and play instead? Because you can feel hot, and so that goes into your decision making, but you need to see if you're rolling hot. Because there can be days that I know everyone in the world has tested and just their deck has just completely trashed on them. They ended up taking it to an event and then going undefeated through because it just kept running hot. And so if in Infinite, I scrubbed out because Leia rolled nothing but she literally in 3 games rolled discard side twice out of 3 rounds that I played against opponents. So you're either rolling hot or you're rolling not. So I like to have that knowledge, and also there's less downside to losing because you're also gaining knowledge on decks that you might not have known that you were going to see. And if you're potting with the right people, which I always chose to play with, the guys from Orlando, like Andrew Cox's guys and guys from Birmingham. So we were all kind of had the same competitiveness, same level. So we all sat down and, we're just going hard to see who can get to the 8 tickets for the 3-0. So it kind of really put my deck to the test to kind of win and see alternate win strategies that I may not have realized going directly into the standard tournament. So I would say overall, I would say 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 really. It helped me, I would say, going into the standard tournament rather than just watching.
Yeah, same thing. It helped me out because, jumping from one deck to another, to especially because I was running Afro droids, it's very, it takes a minute to get back into that mindset after you're playing, just kind of a straight aggro deck. So I was really happy to have the reps, and I got to play some people that I played with in Birmingham. I got to play against people I don't normally get to see, like Deanna. So I really enjoyed the opportunity to get into those pods. So I was actually happier doing the pods than I was the trilogy.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here like, man, I wish I got to go. Because I was telling Eric on the phone, we got to have a phone call. It's like I really got to, measure my change for a year because it's been a year since we went to the last MomoCon. You know, I would want to see how much better I did taking a deck that I'm more comfortable with a strategy that I'm more comfortable with people that I'm comfortable with, to see just like see that growth compared to just going to my locals.
It's all based on perspective. That's always a good. That's always a good measurement. Um, like I would say, I would say we all had. Well, I would say we all had that moment, but I've only played since like this is my first real season, so I guess I haven't yet. So I try to use every big event as kind of that event to see how far I've come, because all I do is keep going better, keep doing better and better, and that's what I'm trying to do. Um, because I know if I get even better and or stay on top of my game and I can keep winning or topping, if my play group is you guys, all you guys do is help me get better, and I help you guys get better as well. And then as a team, we just run rampant and have fun, and our fans can see us at the top tables, and our friends can see us at the top tables, and we're all happy at
Yeah,
the top tables.
I mean, compared to last year, I feel like I'm in a much healthier and happier environment, so that
Mhm.
definitely helps me grow and play better.
No, I mean you feel like you've made a big growth, and you would like to actually use a ruler than your words. Like
Yeah.
you would actually have rather have like on sheet how much better you are than just saying so.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, because we weren't doing podcasts when we went to MomoCon last year, I did not make enough tickets after 2 days of playing to get one spot glass, and I basically
Oof.
cried to my new friends James and Deanna to give me their extras so that I could walk away with Yoda.
Well, they also have changed the ticket situation, I do
It
believe, as
was it
well.
was 12 tickets for Yoda, and I finished at 8. That's how
Yeah.
poorly I did. I was a big old heaping pile of nothing last year.
Get rid.
I also
Well, you would have 8 if you lost 8 games
that's you
this
know
past weekend.
that's pretty much what happened, bro.
Oof.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
Last year it was double elimination too, right? So
Yes, it was
once you
2 and you're
lost
done.
two, yeah, once you lost the two, you were out, and you couldn't get any more tickets that way anyway. So you'd have to go grind pods for it.
Hmm.
But I'll say this about the GQs though, that was easily the most fun weekend I've ever had playing Destiny. From all the regionals and different things over the years, that was by far the most fun. I love the idea that you're in there, you're going for a world seat. I mean, let me explain. From earlier, I didn't go into that tournament wanting to lose or thinking that I didn't have the skills to do it. But once you get that first loss, well, that's off the table, and people aren't running around asking everybody, "Did you win? Did you lose?" No one's trying to figure out how's my strength of schedule. It's you just got to run the table to get to the big prize, and it made for
Yeah.
a really great environment. It really did. It was a lot of fun.
Jeff, question: How in the 2 days, how many Jackalmen did you actually have to go up against?
uh Zero. I
I,
played zero in tournaments, but I actually played everyone that was there with the exception. Well, no, I didn't play against you, Ashton, or Nick.
So that's
Ashton
like
and Nick.
most of everyone.
Yeah, that's pretty much everybody. I, yeah, I got to play Deanna and James. That was the two I got to play.
that's right. I was about to say, I believe it was day one. I ended up having to go against Deanna. Day one, I had to run through a gauntlet, and I knew every single player that I sat down against, like where they were from, like their accolades. Like I was just like, all right, well, I wanted an easy day, but and one of my opponents just so happened to be Deanna, and Deanna finished 4-2 both days playing her very special deck that I don't know if she wants out there. But anyways, I forgot my train of thought. Oh yeah, no, and then day two. I was really proud of my friend Adam, who I just wrote an article on his deck.
That will be up by the time this podcast is being listened to.
Hopefully, really, really soon. And he was 4-0, but to get to 4-0 at that point, he had to beat Nick because they were both 3-0 in standard. At that point, they faced each other. Nick lost. And then Nick, I had just lost, or no, because I started at 1-2 day two, and then I won out. And then Nick just sat down against me, and he's like, "Well, I know how this is gonna go." And I was like, "Don't do that." But it was really fun to be able to actually play my fellow Jackalmen in an environment like that. Because, like Jeff said, it was one of the funnest weekends. Day one was also grueling because me and Adam had woken up at 3:30 in the morning. Central time, and then we drove 3.5 hours to Atlanta, losing an hour because we gained an hour.
Yeah, just time zoned to Eastern Standard.
And we didn't really eat anything, so we just went straight into the tournaments and everything, and we were just going hard. So by the time the standard tournament was over, and by the time we got through eating, I was awake for 21 to 22 hours straight. And then day two was I could feel the effects from day one, day two.
Yeah, the last time I didn't eat for a really long time was MomoCon.
You should have come and found me, man. I was like a team soccer mom out there. I hooked Adam up with a Cliff Bar to keep him going. I had bananas from the hotel I was handing out.
No, dude, I left okay, I'm going to put this on the podcast, and I hope he hears it. I had a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and I went over there, and Nick and Lake and they were in pods, and I set my sandwich down, and somebody pulled me aside to go, because I had my round, so I had to go eat, not go eat, but go play, and I forgot, and I had just forgotten my sandwich. So what does Nick do? He eats my freaking sandwich. He doesn't save it for me. He's just like, well, I mean, he's not going to eat it. So he ate my freaking sandwich. Not only that, but everyone that knew he ate my sandwich saw him go down and buy another sandwich for me. And by the time I was like, dude, where's my freaking sandwich? And I heard you got a sandwich for me. He's like, yo, dude, I still owe you one. So apparently he not only ate my original sandwich, but he also ate my sandwich that he bought for me.
Oh my god!
But then he went and bought me a whole Chick-fil-A meal. So I was fine with it, but I just wanted come on, man.
Hey, that was
2 extra hours of no eating.
It probably took him that long to get those 2 sandwiches too.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A was booming out food, man. They were screaming out every 4 seconds orders. I actually didn't have to wait more than I'd say probably 8 minutes or so. It was a horrible.
Yeah, that food court's silly.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, the lines and everything else, but it still turned out okay.
Ashley and I waited at least an hour for some Arby's sliders.
Oh, dude. Arby's didn't go horribly either. I don't know, maybe I just suck.
Maybe you just hit the timing right.
Yeah, it's all about hitting it right.
But when you go during busy hours, you just gotta get what you know they're gonna make a lot of. So it's just original chicken sandwich, no changes, fries, and then.
Nah, bro, I always gotta get those no pickles.
Yep, it's all about the no pickles.
You guys are monsters, just eating chicken covered in bread top of bread.
Listen, anytime a pickle is on a chicken sandwich specifically, it makes it really soggy, and it's gross.
It's
Pickles
not.
Can be on the side and not eat it, but it's gross.
You gotta be like that flounder from SpongeBob and put the pickles under your tongue.
You know what?
Pickles.
You know what? You stay up there in New Jersey. I'm gonna have to beat your ass.
There's no Chick-fil-A's up here.
Oh, that's why you're salty.
Yeah.
It's not really about.
Yeah, you guys have the luxury of Chick-fil-A that isn't in a mall. I have to go to a mall to get Chick-fil-A's.
Technically, Chick-fil-A is in a mall to me.
Yeah, but that's a mall spelled differently. Let's not talk about homophones right now. I stopped teaching phonics this year. I finished. I'm done. What else do you want to talk about from MomoCon? I mean, we've only been talking for like 24 minutes.
No, it's fine. I always talk for a long time.
I want to talk now. It's my turn.
Jeff, talk.
Hey, Granddad.
No, I did want to talk about Aphrodroids because if the nerfs come through that people are predicting or thinking about with that Balance of the Force next week, Aphrodroids will probably tick up a little bit. But I was actually proud of the way I played that tournament. I went 4-2, which it's not obviously not as good as 5-1 or 6-0. But I sat down across from a Grievous wheel bike round 1. The guy really knew how to run that deck. He was really good player.
That wheel bike went to the finals.
Yeah, he went to the finals. His first loss was in the finals. I can tell you this, that if you're doing indirect to that, if your whole goal is to do indirect to that deck and not kill Grievous, he's going to keep resetting that wheel bike. And he put 2 laser cannons on it, I think, by the end of turn 1 or turn 2. So that 4 indirect every turn. And then here I am punching myself, too. I couldn't hang on. But I did have 2 fantastic finishes I just wanted to throw out there real quick because I've told everybody about these, and now I just need the rest of everybody else to hear it.
I haven't heard it.
In the third round, I got to play against a Phasma First Order, and I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but we traded some shots along the way, and I finally get him down to Phasma's got 10 damage on her, and the First Order's got 6 damage on it with the Riot Shield. I got no money, and I roll out my trusty 000, who hits what? The 2-for-1.
Pay side.
Hits the pay side. But the card that I didn't cut, the card that I refused to cut, was sitting in my hand.
Please tell me it's Truce.
It was Rendezvous, which was worse. So I rendezvous. Yep. Reduce a yellow die by 1.
No,
with
it's
ambush.
Yellow character. Yellow character die.
Is it yellow character die? Well, then I cheated the guy.
You cheated! You cheated! Hold on, what's his name?
I don't know.
Let's
Bo.
Bo.
No, sir. It says resolve one of your yellow dice, showing a cost, decreasing its cost by 1. Yeah, so I did not cheat.
He didn't cheat. He didn't
Bo
cheat.
Didn't cheat. So I dealt the 2 damage to Phasma to kill her, and then I claimed using Petronaki and dealt the 1 unblockable to the Stormtrooper, or to the First Order Stormtrooper to take it in the game. So that was a lot of fun. That was a really weird ending because I had no money, and he just felt like he was fine, and then all of a sudden the game's over, and had it kept going, he probably would have peeled it out on me too there. But the other one I had was Snoke Watto First Order. I know a lot of people don't believe this, but Aphra can hang with that deck. It's all on how you mitigate their first couple rounds. You got to keep them from getting the big stuff out early, which is difficult to do, but it's possible. We traded a lot of blows for a while, but it came down to I had Grievous with 9 damage, but he had 2 modular frames on him, and he had a First Order Stormtrooper with 1 damage left on him. He picks up the Mega Blasters to reroll. The only card I have in my hand I can do anything with is Crash Landing. I have to have him hit a 1 range on any of those 3 dice that he rerolls. And one of them hit the 1 range. I was able to Crash Land it to do the 1 damage to me, and then 000 sent the indirect over to kill it and end the game. So that one was a lot of fun. I was sitting there just sweating it. I had 7 cards in my hand too, if you believe that, and nothing that could do anything for me except for that Crash Landing.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yo, I love sweaty finishes.
Yeah. Those are the games that make you feel good.
Too much fun.
You lose or you bad.
Yeah.
You lose or you win. Whatever.
Bad is getting your 000 vandalized, and then they flame your BT1 on the next turn. That's what I faced.
Goodbye, your board state. Yeah. That's a signature Kevin move.
So
yep.
So you spoke on Aphrodroid. I want to just talk about Target Snoke for a second. I'm a firm believer, wink wink, that this deck is going to be dead in the future. So I really looked at it as like my last hurrah with it. Besides Infinite, and Infinite is a completely different monster for Dark and Snoke.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's a totally different deck.
yeah, and really, like I played at the $500 cash tournament, and I got second place with it, going 71 against the Snoke Foss Watto deck. So I felt really confident. Um, my only two losses to Snoke Foss Watto was to Gonzo and Andreas. Gonzo day two, and who is an amazing player, and Andreas, who went undefeated day one, and all the other ones I beat. But like the deck is super great. I super enjoyed it, and I just enjoy like decks like this that allow you to have the option to build board state, to interrupt, to do just massive amounts of damage if you need to, if something happens. It just gives you the ability to reflectively play like off your opponent, and for you to just like strictly like I wouldn't say outplay, but like outmaneuver, and to it's not a solitaire deck really. Like Vader's really a solitaire deck. It doesn't really care what your opponent does. It's just gonna roll out and kill you. Aphro Droids feels kind of the same way. Like you have to care about certain mitigation, like Jeff was saying, and for early rounds against something like Phasma. Against other solitaire decks, you have to kind of watch it. But generally, you're just building your own board state, doing damage to yourself, not really caring, dealing more to your opponent. Da 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 da. It's the same, but it's different. Where it's like everything that I do and everything that or I did, me playing the deck, was directly related to how my opponent was playing. Like if I was able to play their hand for them, which is something that I did all throughout the 2 days, or whether it was I was making the like jumping at their plays and me being able to correctly play through them and just blow out my opponent or put myself in great situations to win the game. It's one of those decks where it does like nothing feels bad because you have the options for everything. And so like I super enjoyed it, and I'm glad I could give it one last hurrah.
Well, I mean, the game is gonna go in a whole different direction, circa July.
I actually disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were actually just having a conversation, me and Joshua. He said the same thing. He said, but then he kind of corrected himself. He said that support decks will, because at first he said support decks are going to die down, or die in the format, and I was like, that's not true. And he's like, I do agree. Um, I think I based on predictions and stuff, I think that Blue Hero will be able to be viable. A lot of blue decks would be viable, like Kylo Dooku, because other blue decks and other monocolors coming back. Vader will be another option. Um, and when those blue decks being played all the time, Watto like Watto decks will be able to, because Watto decks have a good matchup against those things. Um, for the reasons of like those, there's a reason that Snoke Watto Foss is the best deck of the format. When it looks at Phasma or it looks at Vader or something like that, it can just always have the answers, and it can just always outpace it when it comes to damage. Like okay, unless Vader like super god rolls and like he fear dead man's twice in a turn, and like obviously every
Yeah.
deck has that scenario where they can just like straight out blow out your opponent, but like it having its ability to like just flood the board turn one, and then like all of your like and then start using things to just like protect your characters, and then your support things, the things that are killing those decks like Vader and Dooku and all that stuff aren't things that have health. And I feel like that's a reason why that the Watto decks will still run rampant, unless Watto gets hit, or Snoke for that matter. Because if that deck's not able to be played with Snoke, obviously that deck dies. But I think that the decks that'll be support heavy, that'll be played in the deck, will be played by higher caliber players that are more technical players, should I say? Like Afro decks will still be there. I think Watto decks will still be there. I think if Snoke's not there, maybe the Mother Talzin Watto Watt deck will see a lot more play and become more a lot bigger. But ultimately, I wouldn't say that it's going to be completely different. I would just say that like maybe the top deck that's there will be will change.
I mean, I'm cool with support staying. They finally made cards that can handle support for Mill, so I'm good.
I don't want to talk about it, dude. Dismantle tilts me.
Yo, Dismantle is the funniest card.
Yeah, that was something that we didn't see. I know I talked earlier about being vandalized there, but we did not see a lot of decks that were running vandalize at that GQ. And I actually, I took my Shadowcaster deck up there because I decided if I was going to play in another standard, I could see it, having some legs. I haven't fully tested it out in this meta. Obviously, just like Eric said, the Snoke Watto Fost is just pumps out such big supports. I don't think that you would have enough time to pull off everything you want to. But I see red, yellow, or big hero vehicles maybe slipping back in if people aren't really paying attention.
Well, you can read the article about big hero vehicles or big vehicle heroes or whatever it is. No, it's his deck isn't even.
It is. It is literally just vehicle heroes.
Yep.
Like, that's why Adam played. Adam went 4-2 day one, and he went 5-1. So he had the same record as me, but just opposite days.
But it feels like when I think of big hero vehicles, I think Shadowcaster Reset, which isn't a thing anymore, where you have one ship do everything.
Well, no, because then you wouldn't say vehicles. You would say that's just a fat vehicle deck.
Okay.
That you use heroes to play, like engineers and stuff. Adam's deck, whenever people go over the article and stuff, Adam's deck plays things like X-Wing and Millennium Falcon, and like it plays all these good, cool combo vehicles that do a whole lot of stuff, and that's what like big hero vehicle decks are. Like things like Drive By back in the day, which is a really cool deck. I don't, because obviously things rotated, but it's kind of like the modern day Drive By in my mind. That's the closest thing to it. But like things like that. When I went down to the $500 tournament, I built a 6-die hero vehicle deck that played Elite Rose, Elite Jar Jar, and Elite Satine, and it played things like Resistance Bomber and Resistance Crate Speeder and all kind of stuff, and it was like wrecking face. I think I only had one loss like throughout the whole weekend that I was testing it against like everybody in the top decks and everything. It was just super fun. So I think hero vehicles might be able to slip back in there with some cool techs, but I think a lot of erratas and stuff would have to hit for that to really fall on the money.
Yo, I just remembered Drive By was brand new last MomoCon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a year-old deck.
So I also want to point out that I believe that Adam's deck was like the only one like it at the whole event.
Of course. That's the best feeling when you come bring some homebrew and then you do as the best possible.
For sure. I mean, they're like the pairing has been played before, but the deck list is where everything's at.
Oh yeah.
He's been working on the deck for 7 months.
How many other people put that amount of time into that pairing? There's
not me.
It's probably just him. Like,
yeah.
And wasn't honestly, that kind of the that's kind of the Eric Wainwright thing, right? In his name.
Yes, the
gentleman who keep the blue hero guy who used to do, I think it was like Ray and Padawans back in the day, and then running BB-8, and he really proved that getting the reps in with a deck over time, you can really make what people would think is not going to be a strong deck become a strong deck by being the right player for it.
That is 100% accurate. Obviously, if you have 7 months of reps into a deck, regardless of the situation, because he's in my local play group, so like he plays against like me, James, and Deanna like all the time, and so like he's kind of been put into every situation, whether it's Mill, whether it's Boosh Padney when it first came out, or whether it's Palp, whether it's Tarkin Snoke, whatever it is, he's been put in that situation, and he's learned to adapt through it and make the right calls and stay confident and stay just like very cool minded. He doesn't tilt. He's very mellow. and he's very precise with how he plays, and he's very confident in his deck and his ability to play that deck. So yeah, I right there with you. Repetition. I think that's why I do so good with Tarkin Snoke, honestly, because I've had so many repetitions with it.
You've played Snoke, two Snoke and another person, not 3-wide Snoke. Probably more than you played 2-wide Snoke more than you've played 3-wide Snoke, right?
I believe that because I played Thrawn Snoke, and then I switched to Tarkin Snoke.
Yep, and you played Snoke Wolf for a trilogy event as well.
We don't talk about that.
No, talk about it. Talk about Wolf.
No, oh yeah, no, actually, yeah, at the Birmingham.
Yo, I miss Wolf. Sorry.
Yo, hold on. Yo, so at the Birmingham Regional that we had this season, they said, hey, during Top Cut, if you don't make it, which that was probably my worst. That was actually my worst regional. I had a lot going on in my head, so I just took Shadowcast Reset and got 34th, so it was whatever. And so they were like, during Top Cut, we'll do a trilogy tournament. And before the whole thing started, they're like, who brought a trilogies deck? And like everyone but like 2 people raised their hand, and I was like, oh Jesus. And so I actually went X1 with Wolf Snoke in the trilogies tournament, just really wrecking everybody, because essentially it was the same thing as I played it the same way as Thrawn Snoke, except for I have the ability to discard U4.
Yep.
That was literally it. And it just kind of played a bunch of TIE fighters and just kind of went ham.
Hold on. I know I'm gonna switch to the closing statements in a second, but let's talk about some Wolf. Like, I'm still recording, but I want to talk about some Wolf.
Can we not?
No, we can. Can Wolf do it?
No.
Wolf Count Dooku Battle Droid.
That sounds horrible.
Elite Wolf 1 Afro 1 Battle Droid.
We like to call that a weeknight deck. That's a fun deck to take on a weeknight.
You're a weeknight. Your sword is so flimsy. Elite Wolf Sebulba Battle Droid.
Well, actually, one of the Tampa guys did take Iden Sebulba to a 4-2 in one of the standards. Oddly enough, so different weird decks and can come out of there. Look at what was the one that won? What won the other one? Eric, wasn't it Iden Beckett?
Day 2, I believe it was Iden Beckett. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was Snoke Watto first, then Iden Beckett, and I think Infinite was Yodalea, right?
Yeah, it was Andreas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was playing Yodalea.
Elite Wolf Executioner.
Like something like Beckett Iden just kind of come out of nowhere,
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, the ones that I played in the tournament, I didn't really have a problem with, but I mean, they were kind of close, but not really. I feel like it's just, if you get seized today and it rolls in a crap ton of damage, you just, like, okay.
You could 1 die Dooku, 1 die Outer Rim Outlaw, 1 Wolf for you.
Yo, chill.
No, I'm gonna make it work.
Yo, oh wait. So, here, how about this? Play. No, that sounds bad. No, play Elite Dooku, 1 die. No, that's still bad.
It's all bad.
It's bad. Yeah, it's just all bad. Don't.
So Dooku's 11. Oh shoot, you could do 1 die Dooku, 1 die Wolf, 1 die Sly.
That's a cool mill deck.
Hey.
Oh
hey,
no. Actually,
look who piqued your interest. The Wolf.
No. Why that piqued my interest is because on our last night that we were gonna stream the week before MomoCon, Joshua, as you guys know, they got 3rd at the Jackal Hunt and made all of our cool deck boxes and stuff. He actually built this 1 die Jabba, 1 die New, 1 die Wolf deck with the leader plot thing.
Yeah.
And it literally ran through all of us. It destroyed everybody.
You could play Wolf, Watto, Dooku. But they're all 1 dice.
Boo.
I mean, like, that would be...
Boo.
But then...
This podcast is taking a large decline.
It's okay. Most of it will be edited out. Okay, we're gonna go to the rules section really quick with James. He has some interesting stories from MomoCon. I'm here with Fortune, our resident TO here at Jackalmen Games, and he had the hopefully absolute pleasure of being a judge at MomoCon.
What's up, guys? Yeah, it was pretty fun outside of the technical issues that we had day one, which I'm sure that you've heard about by now. It wasn't too stressful. I had maybe one roll call that had to get clarified that I may not necessarily agree with, but apparently it works the way that it should. So
what was that instance? Because basically, I have you here because I want to hear about the most interesting rulings that you had to do, if any.
You got it. So the vast majority of what I had to do were super simple things. How does like the pass work on Flee the Scene? How does Phasma's ability work with advanced training? That type of stuff, things that I could just answer immediately. There was only one ruling that happened on day 2 when I wasn't judging, but I was still asked about it, that we answered incorrectly at the event because everyone who was there that was asked all agreed on how it should work, but apparently, according to Gandork, we were incorrect.
Uh-oh.
For those that don't know, Gandork is like the head rules editor for FFG, so he is like the deciding factor in all of this stuff. But basically it involves 2 cards, the Inferno Squad ID-10 Seeker Droid and Flee the Scene. So what happened is one player played Flee the Scene, which removes 2 dice, and then they have to pass 2 turns this round. Their next 2 turns this round. There was also a ID-10 Seeker Droid on the field on special. The ID-10 Seeker Droid special is look at an opponent's hand and discard a card from it. That opponent may take 1 additional action during their next turn this round. So, the player played Flee the Scene, removed 2 dice. The other player activated, rolled an Inferno Squad. The Flee the Scene player passed. Then the Seeker Droid resolved his special. So what then happened was the other player had to pass his second time, and the rules question was whether or not they get an additional action immediately after their pass.
Okay, that's interesting.
So hearing that explanation, just what's your immediate thought on
it? It sounds wrong to be like, pass, I get an action.
Right. So that's what I, the head judge, and everyone else there kind of agreed on. Outside of the people that were playing, I think Andrew Coxwell actually had the correct ruling on it. But so what happens is you would pass your second time with Flee the Scene, and then you would immediately get a second action. So pulling up Gandork's response on it, and I'll just quote him directly. ID-10 basically creates a delayed effect that gives the latter an extra action on their turn. So when it's that player's turn, the extra action is granted and is waiting to be taken. Ooh,
okay. I mean, I know that when I said, that doesn't seem right, he should just pass. Now hearing the Gandork say that, it's like, okay, no, it's definitely what should happen.
Right. So basically, ID-10 gives you an extra action on your next turn, and passing is not an action. So you pass your initial turn, but then you still have the option to take an action after passing. So that was kind of the one interesting ruling from MomoCon. I still don't quite understand why it works, but we have confirmation that it does. And yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Is it anything else? Well, that's definitely like the most extravagant thing that's happened.
Right.
But any other like arguments or...
The only other real argument that we had between a player and a judge was whether or not you can overwrite Surusu Mastery with Surusu Mastery, which of course the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But the question behind it was he had actually asked immediately before that whether or not you can overwrite a unique with the same unique. The answer is no, because in the rules reference guide, it says specifically that a unique card cannot be played from your hand at all if another copy of it is on your side of the field. Surusu Mastery is not unique. It just has a
Flavor text.
not a play restriction, but it has part of its text that says that you can only have one form at a time. So you can play it, and then if you aren't overriding, you would have to immediately discard one. But if you are overriding, then you only have the one when it checks for the amount of forms that you have.
Right.
So it works basically because it's not a unique card. If it was unique, you couldn't do it.
Well, yeah. Well, that one's already been established. So, but I'm pretty sure that will be popping up at people's locals all the time.
Right. And also, just for good standings, yes, you can resolve blanks, melee, and ranged trooper dice all as melee damage at one time with advanced training and Phasma.
Oh, cool. Oh, so you can like even mix it up?
You sure can.
That's interesting. See, the things you learn at MomoCon.
The things you learn.
By the way, I just want to point out that me and Andrew Cox both said that the ID10 thing worked, and James in his explanation only gave credit to Cox. I was like, you motherfucker.
We're back, and it's time for our closing statements. Wow, what an interesting ruling section.
Boo.
All right, so
by the way, I just want to say I feel like we started out on something and then just like strayed so far from the path.
Oh, it doesn't. That's how every podcast happens.
I feel like that's just my normal mindset.
Okay, so the only good one that I like, the Gandorix, is Infinite, Elite Mace 1, Elite Ahsoka 2. You heard it here first.
All right.
Thank you for listening. Love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.